Hey, work from homers, Adam Schroeder here. We love bringing you this podcast, and thousands of you have proven that it's been helpful for you. But since time and online storage space aren't free, Naresh and I wanted to come to you personally to ask for your financial support through Patreon. Go to patreon.com/workfromhomeshow and help support the show. And we appreciate your support at any amount you choose. That's patreon.com/workfromhomeshow. Thanks for your support. Let's get to the show.
Forced to work from home by your employer? Laid off or feeling depressed at home? Do you want to make money working from anywhere? We'll show you how to do it from your couch. It's time for another episode of the Work From Home Show. Coming to you from their homes in Austin, Texas and Tampa, Florida, here are your hosts, Adam and Naresh.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Work From Home Show. I'm Naresh, with Adam Schroeder. Today we have Mitche Graf on the show. He is known as the captain of small business branding and host of Business Edge Radio. He's also the #1 best-selling author of Business Basics BootCamp, The Ultimate Crash Course, and the new book, Customer Service is Dead, Delivering 6-Star Service in a 1-Star World. Mitch is also a former All-American track and field athlete. So without further ado, Mitche Graf, welcome to the Work From Home Show.
How you doing, guys? It's an honor to be here and looking forward to a nice conversation with you and your listeners.
Thank you. The pleasure is ours. So let's start with entrepreneurship and your books. You talk about a 24/7 mentality to entrepreneurship, and I have a feeling I know what this is about, but I want you to expand on what is your 24/7 mentality to entrepreneurship.
Well, I think a lot of people that start their own business, and whether we call them an entrepreneur or just a person that starts a business, the common knowledge is, okay, in order to make something successful, you have to dive in 80 hours a week if necessary, forsaking your family, giving up weekends, work until midnight if you have to. And for the last 30, 35 years that I've had an entrepreneurial career, I have not believed that. I believe that you have to build your lifestyle first, whatever is important to you. See, I'm 59. Right now, I have a 15-year-old, a 13-year-old, and yes, wait for it, a 6-year-old. So things are a little bit different for me. My priorities are different. I used to be that corporate guy, but normally 24/7 means 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And that's the normal definition. My definition, and has been for 25 years now, 24 hours a week, 7 months a year. And I know that sounds a little bit pie in the sky, but what it forces me to do, guys, is every day I wake up and I ask myself, what can I do today to be more efficient, to make sure I'm automating systems, to make sure that I'm only doing the things that I do very well and making sure I offload the other stuff so that I don't have to work a minute longer than I absolutely have to, so that I have the extra time to go be with my family, to do my personal hobbies, to go stare at a tree in my backyard. And to me, that's what's most important. And here we are. I own 5 companies right now, and we have sales in excess of $2.5 million annually. But I do that
for each company or combined?
Oh, grand total. That's grand total. Yeah. But the way I've done that is I know what I do well, and I hire people around me that are smarter than me, much smarter than me, and then here's the roadmap, and then I stay out of their way and let them do their job. So that 24/7 mentality that I have, am I successful all the time? Absolutely not. But it is my shining beacon on the hill, and every day I try to get better at what I do so that I can work 24 hours a week, 7 months a year, and then have the rest of that time to do what I want. If I want to invest it back in my businesses, hallelujah. If I want to invest it in my 6-year-old kicking soccer balls in the backyard, amen. But I get that ultimate choice of what I do with my time.
So 24/7 mentality is not what I thought it was.
What did you think it was?
I thought and look, I agree with you. Yeah, so 24/7 meaning there are no set hours. So you can be, like you said, you
Correct.
can be at your kid's soccer game at 8 p.m. at night, and client calls in, well, you got to go take that call, and you got to take care of whatever needs to be taken care of. That's what I mean by a 20, you go overseas, you're in, let's say, Eastern Europe on a vacation, something happens, you got to take care of it. There is no such thing as vacation, or there is no such thing as work-life balance or vacation.
Yeah.
But at the same time, what you said, 24 hours a week, 7 months a year, it works out that way because we're the work from home show. I've started multiple businesses right now. I focus on 2 of them. And it works out. If I were to actually quantify how much I'm working and how much I'm working and how much I'm making, it's probably similar to 24 hours a week of work.
Mm-hmm.
And if you were to extrapolate that, I'm probably working about 7 months of the year. So it is
Exactly.
It is good. And you said that you said something that I absolutely agree with, and I don't know why so many people actually, I do know why so many people don't agree with it or don't want to adopt it. And that is, you hire good people and you get out of their way and you let them do their job so that you don't have to do anything.
And that's hard to do because if you're the chief bottle washer and you do everything in your business, if you're a one-man operation, or maybe you and your spouse do a business together, you have to do all of it. But just because you know how to do everything doesn't mean that you should do everything. I spent many years in the professional photography industry, and one of the things that really good photographers, we're talking like the best photographers in the world, one of the things that they think they have to do is retouch their digital files. So they'll shoot a wedding on Saturday, and then all day Sunday, when it's supposed to be a family day, they're sitting there in their computer in Photoshop retouching the images because they say, I do it better than anybody. Well, number one, if you were to ask that same photographer, how much would you pay to bring in a digital retoucher into your studio, or to, digitally send it to them, around the world, wherever? What would you pay somebody? And the answer predominantly is 15 to 20 bucks an hour. But then when you ask them, are you willing to work for 15 or 20 bucks an hour? They'll say, absolutely not. I'm a professional photographer. I'm photographer of the year in my state, and I would never work. Well, if they're doing their own retouching, they're working for minimum wage. And that kind of story will exist in every single industry. The hard part is people will say, I can't afford to hire it out. Well, the way I look at it is you can't afford not to. And I always recommend people figure out what it is that you do very, very well, and then do that. And then figure out ways to offload the other stuff and delegate it, automate it, eliminate it, whatever you got to do, so that you can focus on the skill sets that are in your wheelhouse, and let other people, like having a virtual assistant. In today's world, there's virtual assistants all around the world, and they work for $5 or $10 an hour, and they're great. I have 2 virtual assistants that they do an incredible job for me, doing research and doing some data. And I pay them like $8 an hour, and they're happy. And they do me a solid by giving me the information that I need.
And this isn't just in business. This is a life skill. So I can give you some examples that I'm dealing with, or that I've dealt with in life, in adulthood, in marriage, in relationships. And that is, for example, if getting the house cleaned. I know how to clean a house. I know how to clean a bathroom, and I've done it when I was younger, like when I was a college student. I would do it myself, and then I realized I suck at this. I take, no joke, 6 times longer than a professional would take. And so once I started working, I said, you know what? I'm just not even going to waste my time doing it. Yeah, I'll save $100 if I do it myself, but I should just hire someone to do it and do it well, and they'll be done in 30 minutes. So that's cleaning, or it could even be like a nanny, right? I could take care of my son myself, which I do mostly, but at the same time, I've got work to do. I run 2 businesses. I've got a bunch. I manage a house. There are a bunch of things to take care of, and on top of that, the nanny does things that I don't do, like cooking and cleaning up and laundry. And so it is absolutely worth it. And then even just giving 100% attention to a little 1-year-old toddler, so that I can take a break. So the nanny does all sorts of things that I could do if I learned it and if I took the time out. But I say, you know what? She's an expert at this. She used to be a nurse at a school, and let her do what she does best, and I'm happy to pay her. But a lot of people, they either say, oh, why would you want to pay someone when you can do it yourself? That's a waste of money. And I say, well, you can continue to be miserable if that's how you view it.
Mm-hmm. Well, and then you get into the conversation of the time value pyramid, which what we're talking about, we'll call them $15 to $25 an hour jobs, whether it be a house cleaner, a digital retoucher, whatever industry your listeners are in. Just think of someone that does the basic run of the mill A to Z stuff that makes the business run every day, answering the phones, fulfilling orders, stuff like that. 15, 20, maybe $25 an hour. Then you got the management level, which is what I call $50 an hour, 50. And those are things like making sure you hit the daily sales numbers, training employees, doing some forecasting. And then you have the $500 an hour activities, which is what the three of us do and what anyone that owns their own business should be spending a majority, not all, a majority of their time doing is growing the business, increasing the network, figuring out strategic partnerships that will allow you to grow and scale so that you can hire and delegate out. But we all, when you start a business, we all start it with, we do everything. And I understand that mentality. I've started probably 15 or 25 businesses in my life. I've sold 16 of them over my career. And it has to start with the bottom. I have a spice company right now. It's called Barbecue Nation. And we're in stores all across the United States. You can go online. We're on Amazon. We're in Ace Hardwares. We're in True Values. Well, when that thing started, my wife and I, the very first day, we got the license to operate from our home back 12, 14 years ago. And that first batch of bottle, guys, we filled it ourselves. We had a funnel. We had a little scoop. And we were putting stuff in the bottles ourselves. Well, 7 million bottles of spice later, here we are. And I don't touch it. It's we have co-packers that do all that, but you got to start somewhere. But as you grow, you need to be able to identify, okay, I'm at the point now where my time is pretty valuable. I need to offload some of these, we'll call them $15, $25 an hour jobs so I can focus on growing my business so that next year I answer the phone, I'm here. 5 years from now, I'm here. 10 years from now, I'm here. So
how have you seen people do that successfully? Like, what are some of the keys to transitioning out of the $15, $20 an hour jobs and getting your focus on the higher ones? What are some of the things you've seen people do that have kind of helped in that transition?
Well, there's an old principle called the Pareto's principle. It's the 80-20 law, which says that 80% of your results will come from 20% of your efforts. And if you look at the top 20% of salespeople, they make 80% of all the sales. 20% of the businesses in the world make 80% of the dollars that are available out there. So it applies across the world in all industries. So if you understand that going into it, that most of your results, your positive results, are going to come from the top 20% of your efforts, you need to be able to sit down and say, okay, what are those 20%? And then make sure that that is what you spend a majority of your time doing. And then virtual assistants, eliminating, or maybe you can find something that needs to be automated. And I always tell people, take your systems that you currently have in your business and break them down to the smallest number of pieces. And then rebuild it with fewer pieces, fewer moving pieces, and make sure that that customer is at the top of that food chain. You always have to remember, whatever you do, you have to do what's best for the end user, which in business world, it is that customer. Whether you're B2B or B2C, how do you take care of that customer so impeccably well that they can't go anywhere else because of that service level you give them? And so if any business owner can sit down with a pen and paper, a good cup of coffee or a glass of wine on the back deck, a cold beer, sit down and say, okay, what systems do I have that have touch points with customers, and which things are I am involved in? And what do I need to be involved in to make sure I'm maintaining that 20% of the high valued activities? And then figuring out a way to offload it. And everyone's going to be different as far as how you offload it. I have been able to utilize virtual assistants for probably 10 years before it was a thing. I had virtual assistants around the country, and now actually around the world, doing work for me because we have the internet. We can be location independent, and so can they. And so hiring freelancers to do some of the basic information, the basic jobs that we have, I think is something that any business owner, especially small business owner, can take advantage of. And it's not too expensive, but what I'll mention again is you can afford not to do it. You really can't afford not to do it. as you're growing your business. Unless you want to be that 80-hour-a-week guy, then hey, more power to you, work 80 hours. But back to that 24/7, just one quick thought, and then we can move on. 24/7 has a meaning to me, has different meaning to you. Maybe, Naresh, if you're working 70 hours a week right now, maybe if getting more efficient with the systems and the activities that you do on a daily basis, maybe you get that down to 56 hours a week. Hey, that's innovative for you. That's revolutionary. Magic's going to happen there because of all that extra time that you just freed up. So me, 24 hours a week, that just means it's a mindset, not necessarily having to work 24 hours a week. It's just something I strive for, and everybody out there, every listener can do the same thing. Maybe you get from 40 to 32. Maybe you go from 70 to 65. Whatever it is, make sure you're more efficient at what you do so that you free up that valuable time. And then you could do whatever it is you want, whether it is staring at that tree, playing with your kid, throwing a ball for the dog, or reinvesting it back in your business.
So you talked about the 80-20 rule, and what's the key? Obviously right now in whatever industry people are in, most likely there's already 20% of companies making 80% of the profits. Mm-hmm. How do you get your company into that? How do you get into the 20% to make part of the 80%?
Well, if you're talking about revenues, what I always tell people about revenues is you got to put your revenue pie in the sky aside and deal with your lifestyle choices first. Where you're living, where you're going on vacation, what activities do you do with your family, what hobbies do you have, and then you attach a number to that. There's going to be X number of dollars that you need to have per year to have the lifestyle, that perfect lifestyle that you choose. If you want to go on 2 vacations a month long a piece every year, that's great, but you have to plan that first and then reverse engineer to figure out that business blueprint. But once you do that lifestyle design and you have a clear understanding of what you want your life to be, it's easier for you to say, okay, my business needs to generate X number of dollars per year to be able to pay the bills and taxes and employees and me. And a lot of entrepreneurs pay themselves last. At the end of the month, they say, okay, well, there's $18 left in the bank. Woohoo! And I say, no. You have to pay yourself first. And then you figure out everything else around that. And that also acts as a double motivator. If you're paying yourself first, that means you're going to have to really double up and catch up to make sure all the other bills are paid, which means you have to go get sales and you got to do marketing and promotions and all the other things. And if you're not good at those things, it's okay. Either learn how to do it and do it well, or hire someone that can. It's very simple.
In one of your books, you talk about the 5-second image challenge. Can you explain what that is?
Well, as consumers, and we're all in the same boat when it comes to this, when we go out and we are exposed to a brand, whether it be a car dealership, a woman's purse line, a bookstore, whatever it is, within 5 seconds as human beings, it's natural for us to make a prejudgment. We can determine subconsciously in our brain, sometimes it's consciously. In my life, I consciously make a decision because I'm kind of aware of the game, but subconsciously within 5 seconds, we decide what that business is worth to us, what the value of a product is to us. Harley Davidson dealerships, they are an animal unto themselves. When you drive onto a lot, whether you've had a Harley in the past or not, the experience from the very moment that first person approaches you, it is completely different. And that first 5 seconds, the perceived value is very high for someone like a Harley Davidson. When you go to like a McDonald's, again, that first 5 seconds, it's kind of rushed. So you make that judgment on what is the value of a hamburger that they're trying to sell me. When you go into a gourmet hamburger joint, it's a whole different experience. And those first 5 seconds, whether it is with an employee contact and somebody greeting you with that smile and a, hey, how are you doing today? Or whether it is the logo on the outside of their building, is there trash on the ground? Is there cracks in the sidewalk? Are the windows dirty? Subconsciously, we're making observations every second of the day. And all that stuff goes into what we perceive the company being worth, whatever they're selling, whether it's insurance or a hamburger or a book, it doesn't matter. That perceived value is what we have to hang our business hat on.
Now, talking about your perceived values, your new book, Customer Service is Dead, you talk about a 1-star world. Does that just mean that companies don't care about their perceptions anymore? Or what are you referring to there?
Yeah, I think it's kind of a combination of that, Adam, and also the whole world is going online. And so with that, the human being has been the sacrifice. So those frontline employees that used to be, when I was a kid growing up, I remember going into stores to buy tools. There's a place in Ridgecrest, California called Thrifty's, and they had everything from tools to guitar amps to had some groceries. They had everything. And the people there were professional salespeople. They could answer any question about anything, and they were a real value to the brand. Well, now those people have kind of been eliminated because these big companies realize, okay, we can pay people less. We'll put more emphasis online store, and let's just hire a 20-year-old person that just needs a job. We'll pay a minimum wage, and we'll give them a little bit of training, and then we'll let them go. Well, what happens when you put and I'm not saying that 20-year-olds are bad. I'm just saying at that point in your career, you don't have the experience that a 30, 40, 50-year-old's going to have, nor do you have the knowledge that you can impart upon your customers. And so with me as a consumer, if I go in, and let's just say I'm going to get some gas. In the olden days, they called it a service station. I don't know if you guys are old enough to remember that, but you drive your car into a service station, and they wash your window, they check your tires, they check your oil if you asked them to. They'd even do the insides of your driver's window. They'd wipe it and clean it down while you were getting gas. I remember my experiences so much when I was a kid because I would go there just to watch the guys hopping around to the cars, cleaning windows and talking to customers. Well, guess what? To this day, I buy the same brand of gasoline, Chevron. There's a little Chevron station in the corner. Back 40 years ago, I still remember that experience, and I am still loyal to the brand. But today, the people don't hold the brand in as high esteem as they used to. And so what's the mistake that a lot of companies are making is not giving proper training to the frontline employees that are dealing with these multi-billion-dollar brands, whether it be Coca-Cola or Harley-Davidson. There's lots of billion-dollar brands, and they're putting more trust in low-waged employees in the front line because they value that less every single day. And so what I'm trying to do with this book, six-star service in a one-star world, is I'm trying to get people to think that, okay, what is appropriate? What do we expect from companies? And if we were to, let's say, go to Chinese food on a Friday night and they deliver the food perfectly, it's warm, they give us a smile, they didn't drop the ball, they met our expectations. That's a 5-star, right? Well, what do we do for the companies that go above and beyond? What do we do for the companies that treat us like gold and give us impeccable service? And what do we do for those companies that create an unparalleled culture of service excellence? What do we do for those people? Right now, we can't really do anything except continue to go back and give them our business, obviously. But I think there needs to be a new standard. I think there needs to be a 6-star that we can award companies that do go above and beyond to treat us not just like customers, but to treat us like friends and to treat us like lifelong relationships that many of us will be if they give us the right treatment and make sure that they treat us with that respect and treat us like gold. We will be their customers for life. And guess what? We bring our friends and families and coworkers, and that really is when magic happens, and that's when businesses start to scale 5x, 10x. And you don't have to spend a lot of money on advertising. If you just take good care of your customers, you don't have to spend a lot of money on advertising because they will bring you more customers for you to take care of.
I'm just wondering, because you said that many of these companies like Coca-Cola have somewhat left their customers behind in the name of the bottom line, in the name of profit, for quick and easy profits. If you leave your customers behind, if your customers are unhappy, wouldn't the profits go down? I'd see that these companies just keep getting bigger and bigger.
Well, it's because we have all went to the mindset of online, and we've accepted the fact that automation is okay. We now accept the fact that the person at the grocery store or the bank teller or the gas station. See, in Oregon, we can't pump our own gas. So I use that example, but I understand that most states, you're allowed to get out of your car, you swipe your own credit card, and you pump your gas. In Oregon, we're not allowed to do it by state law. We're just not. They charge an extra 5 or 10 cents a gallon for schools and for highways and stuff. So we still get that experience of that person pumping the gas for us. And the good stations, if you go to a Chevron, you will notice those employees treat you a little bit differently. They are a little more friendly. They've been given a little more training. They're a little bit older. But lots of other gas stations, you're not seeing that same training. Coca-Cola, not saying that Coca-Cola salespeople don't take care of you. I'm just saying the billion-dollar brands, a lot of these guys have went online. They have automated their systems so that they don't have to have as much human-to-human interaction. And I think that's where businesses, especially small businesses, I think that's where we're missing the boat. That's the one thing that can separate us from all of our competitors in our market. I don't care what you do. You take care of your customer. That is the purple cow. Seth Godin wrote a book many years ago called The Purple Cow. You want to look different, smell different, feel different than anybody else in your marketplace. And regardless of what you do, if you can do that and take care of those customers, you will outcompete every single one of your competitors.
Do you see a scenario where the big companies go back towards the older 5-star treatment of customers, or do you think with the internet age that the personal touch will be something that the small companies will always have over the large companies now?
I think it's something we're always going to have. The big guys are long gone. That boat has sailed. Yeah, the automation, the online aspect, that we're never going back. And especially now with the shutdown with COVID, online is now even more important. And so you're seeing a lot of companies now jump into the space wholeheartedly. Maybe they had a little bit of online sales before, but man, there's a lot of guys now, because their brick and mortars got shut down completely. They had to pivot and go online. But the small mon pas, and I'd say under 500 employees, mon pas that are working from home, maybe it's a husband and wife team, maybe it's just the husband that got downsized and now he's starting a business from home. The difference that we can make in the lives of our customers and to make sure that we have a profit to survive year after year is to take impeccable care of every single one of our customers. I call it the after party. When you go into, I'll use Harley again. When you go to Harley Davidson, you know that after you give them that check and buy, it's the after party. You're looking forward to the VIP club and the VIP treatment. When you go to a Super Bowl, they talk about the after party. You go to the Grammys, they talk about the after party. And there's almost more buzz built around the after party than the actual event, right? So if you can get your customers so excited to not just come do business with you once, but what's going to happen after they sign the dotted line, after they give you a check or give you a credit card, what's going to happen after is what you need to be thinking about. What can I do after a customer says yes to me, whatever I sell, that will make them so committed to me, not just as a customer, but now they become a fan of you. And that's when you start getting the referrals from each one of your customers.
You touched a little bit about new employee training, the big companies hiring the 20-year-olds. What guidelines do you talk about in your book that can revolutionize new employee training so that customer service can be greatly improved?
I'll give you a little bit of example. I have one of my companies is a catering company, and we used to be very big. We used to have 35 employees before COVID. Now we have a handful, and things are coming back, but we got downsized pretty hard because there was no weddings. All the corporate gigs were shut down. But half of my employees that we had were hired from another business, because I would go around and it was a waitress that just treated us incredible. They smiled. They were sincere in their efforts to make us happy and to talk to us. I've had 2 bank tellers that we've hired away from banks. I hire personalities. And a lot of companies do the same thing that I do. This is not a novel idea by any stretch, but to go hire people that are nice, likable, friendly. I can teach you how to cook. I can teach you how to carry a Schaefer. I can teach you how to mow a lawn. I can teach you the skills of the trade. What I can't teach, at least it's very difficult, is how to be nice and how to smile sincerely and authentically. And so for my businesses, I hire people's personalities first, and then I train them in the skill sets they need in order to do the job. And many companies do that. I'd say a majority of companies that do that are still around today, and they're thriving. The companies that don't, the companies that just hire a warm body to throw it in because they need somebody, because they're shorthanded, that's when we start getting into this vicious cycle of we're hiring a warm body just to fill a job, and they answer the phone, "Hello, how can I help you?" And we all have those experiences, right? We call on the phone, you get a telephone sales representative, and you can tell that they just don't like their job. Well, two things. Either get more training, or B, go find another job. If you're not happy in the job that you have, life's too short. Life's too precious and fleeting, and it could be over tomorrow. Go find a job that you like, because we can hear that on the phone, dude. We can hear that you're not happy, and it's just that's the kind of stuff that gives us that, okay, it's one-star treatment, but it's okay because that's just how the world is, and we accept it. And I'm here to say I don't think we need to accept it. I think we need to demand more from companies, small and big, and demand that 6-star. Demand that everyone go above and beyond when they try to take care of us, whether it's a car insurance salesman or the place we buy our shoes. It doesn't matter. We should expect more from companies. And as consumers, if we start doing that nationwide and all of us stand up and say, no, we're tired of this bad treatment, we want more, I think you'll see from the ground up, I think you'll see a revolution that will take place in the customer service industry. I really do.
So how, as a business owner, can you kind of check and quantify that you're actually giving 6-star service? Is it mostly just looking at like return business, or how can you actually quantify it?
Well, there's many different ways. I mean, obviously, if there's social proof, if there is a rating system for your business online, that's part of it. Another part is to actually sit down and ask your customers. If they're in person, you talk to them in person. If they're internet-based, you pick up the phone and call them, and you ask them, how am I doing? What am I doing well? What can I do better? What am I dropping the ball on? Do you have any recommendations on how we can make your experience better and more fulfilling? And just listen to what your customers have to say. I think a lot of companies don't do that. They just kind of take customership for granted. But I think right there, that alone could be a magic bullet where you start getting direct feedback from your customers. And now you know what you need to improve on. You know the systems that aren't working. Maybe it's your shipping department. If you have an Amazon FBA store and you're supposed to be shipping everything and it's always a day late, well, you need to rework that system. But you don't know that until you get that customer feedback. So once you get that customer feedback, you sit down, you redesign systems, you talk to personnel maybe that need a little bit extra training. And that's another part of the customer experience that I think a lot of companies forget about, is making sure that you create that customer service culture within your employees. You want them to buy into what your perception is, that the customer is the boss, the employees work for the customers, and me, the boss, I work for my employees. I've always believed that. You ask any one of my employees, they'll say, how's Mitch as a boss? Say, well, he's always willing to do whatever he has to make our jobs easier. What can I do to help you? My staff hears that all the time. What can I do to help you today? And for a lot of my employees, they never heard that before. It's like, okay, my bosses in the past have always been, you do this, and this. It's like, no. I need to support you and give you the tools and training that you need to be successful so that you can take care of my customers. Because ultimately, my customers, I want them to come back next month, next year, and bring their neighbor. And that's what I want, and that's how my businesses are going to grow. And I think a lot of businesses can grow the same way.
Mitch, reading your bio, you were the former president of the San Francisco Giants, single A affiliate, the Salem Kaiser Volcanoes. That's pretty cool. How did you leverage your entrepreneurial experience and a job like this?
What a story this is.
Oh, really? Okay, yeah.
Well, it's a short story, but it's one paragraph now in my bio. Yeah, this is 3 years ago now. I was a little bit bored with what I was doing, and I know that sounds weird because back then I only had 3 companies back then. But I was bored. I was looking for something new, something different. And I had heard via the grapevine that they were looking for a president of the Class A affiliate of the Giants. And my first thought was, well, shoot, that's the Giants. I'm a Dodger fan. I can't do that. I grew up a Dodger fan. And Adam, I think you're a Dodger fan as well. So to me, it was almost like I was cheating on my wife, right? So I went to the interview.
So how did you hear about that? I mean, it's not every day that you hear about a single A job opening.
Oh, I think it was because I'm heavily involved in chambers, local chambers, and I think it was somehow they posted and say, hey, we're looking. So anyway, I called the owner. I didn't follow the rules. The rules were you submit an application to this company and they'll screen you. I just called. I got his cell number and I called. And I said, hey, my name is Mitch. I'm an entrepreneur. I think you need someone like me to come in and do this job. And he said, no, I need a baseball guy. Have you had any baseball experience? I said, no, I've been a fan my whole life, but you need someone to come in and rebrand. And at the time, the company had they had some branding issues. Attendance was pitifully low. So I said, okay, this is a challenge that I think is right in my wheelhouse. You need to hire me. He says, no, I need a baseball guy. Thanks anyway. So I said, here's my name. Check me out. You can call people. You can Google me, find out about who I am, and you'll call me back. Well, about 2 hours later, he called me back. We sat down over a series of about 5 or 6 more conversations over the next week. He decided that, yes, it is something that we need. We need a rebrand. We need a new jolt of energy. We need some outside eyes to come in. So I came in, fired everybody, and then one at a time, I sat down and said, okay, right now you don't have a job, but convince me now, right now, sitting across from me, why I should hire you back and why you weren't part of the reason that I had to give up time with my kids, my other companies to come in and fix the problem. Convince me why you're not the problem. And one at a time, these people had conversation with me. Out of 110 people, I think we hired back 15. And the rest of the staff was all brand new. And again, we went out and
this
hired.
Was a minor league team that had 115 people working?
Yeah, well, it's seasonal. So during the summer, man, you got catering, you got tickets, you got parking lots.
This is every part-time contractor.
Everybody. Nobody had a job except for the couple people in the office, the family and other longtime personnel. But nobody else was guaranteed a job until they came in and sat down and convinced me why they weren't part of the reason I had to give up my summer. And that's exactly how he said it, guy. I said, convince me why this is a good thing. I just gave up my 3 months with my kids on summer vacation. Tell me why you're not the problem. So anyway, we increased our attendance almost 13%, which is the largest increase in all of minor league baseball in 2019. And then last March, the shutdown happened. At the same time, there was conversation that Major League Baseball was going to contract minor league teams and get rid of 40 of them. Well, the Volcanoes were one of those 40 teams. They got contracted. I stepped down last March so I can come back and take care of my companies who had been shut down because of COVID. And my kids were sent home because of COVID. And so we homeschooled our kids. I came home to take care of my own business. But that was one of the best experiences, guys, of my entire life. The hardest part was not being able to wear a Los Angeles Dodger hat to work on a regular basis. I had to wear Giants gear.
So talk about the rebranding. Like what are some of the things that you really need to do to go out there and present a new company image to the public?
Oh, that's a great question. Well, in this particular case, and again, we can apply these principles, these techniques to any industry because a lot of companies need to do rebranding. First thing we did is I looked at every system that they had. I looked at the signage. I looked at the website. We looked at the marketing collateral, the brochures and the tickets, and basically just said, okay, we need to throw this out and start fresh. We completely rebuilt the website. We redesigned logos. We reinvented the on-field experience because in between innings, you got different games and activities. We reinvented that to give the fans a better experience. And I told the fans, I said, we're going to make 3 promises to you. Number 1, the food lines will move at lightning speed. And that's one of the things I have a lot of experience in is food service. And that was one of the big problems that I heard from when I called season ticket holders and said, tell me about your experience. They said, oh, the lines are forever. Bad food, long lines, they're slow as molasses. So we made sure that all the food was lightning fast. We brought in local restaurants and rented them space so they can come in and take over the food because that's what they do, right? We got the pizza guy. We got the Italian guy. We got the Mexican guy, the best in town. Gave them a space inside the stadium and said, okay, you come serve your high-quality food, your staff, your personnel, your training. So we promised lightning fast lines. We promised a smile at every turn. And again, that's part of that hiring the right people. And number 3, when you leave the stadium, we promise that you're going to crave the next time you come back and see another ball game. And so in everything that we did, those 3 promises were front and center on the website, on our radio ads, TV ads that we ran. And so the whole community, which is about 350,000, I think is how much is in the demographic area, they all had a sense that, oh, this is new, this is fresh, this is something different. And they had this inkling of, okay, I got to go check it out. I want to go and see what's so mysterious about this whole, everything that this Graf guy is doing. I want to go check it out. And so because of that, we shocked the system and people came back. And that 13% increase in attendance is not easy to do. Apparently, apparently it's something difficult. But all I did is go in and apply basic ABCs of business: sales, marketing, pricing, promotion, branding, and applied it. And then after a year, I was done and went on with the rest of my life. But what a great experience, man.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Job of my life, yeah.
And it was like a temp thing, right? Even the corporate people only work 3 months?
Oh, no. There's full-time staff year-round, yeah. There's full-time staff year-round, but during the actual baseball season, and this is a short season, single A, so it was only 4 months of actual games, and that's when you got over 100 employees. And of course you got these are minimum wage people. But again, I was trying to hire personalities first, and most of the people that we hired at the beginning of the season were there at the end, and that's another problem they were having. A lot of the people that I hired were older. They didn't do it for money. They did it because they loved baseball, they loved community, and they loved being around people. What a great combination for an employee working at a baseball game, whether you're taking a ticket or charging people for parking or selling somebody merch in the merch store. All these people had smiles. They were excited to have the job, excited to be there, and people left there excited. So my whole thing is, okay, why can't we take that, bottle it, and then apply it to all of our own businesses? I mean, that was baseball, big deal. But why can't we apply it into catering? Why can't we apply it into online courses? Why can't we apply it to a lawn service company that you may have started because you got downsized last year? You can apply these same kind of techniques to anything that you do, and people get excited for it, and they will continue to support you year after year after year.
Yeah, it's funny. My dad's coming up on 74 now, and he still tells me that his favorite job he ever had was selling beer at Busch Stadium.
Oh, man. What a great experience.
And I told my wife when I retire, we need to go somewhere, and I'm going to be a grounds crew member of some team. I don't know where, but that's my thing. You get paid to go out there and watch baseball.
Well, a lot of people say, well, when I retire, after my 35 years, we're going to go do this. We're going to go do that. We're going to travel around. Well, guess what? That day may not come. I lost my stepdad. It's been a long time ago now, but I lost him back in 1998. And since the day he passed on, I made a commitment to myself that I'm never going to pass on an opportunity to enrich my life, enrich the lives of my family, just because I say, oh, we can't afford it today, or no, I don't have the time. I'm never going to say no to an opportunity that presents itself like that. And I work my best to not say no to opportunities. I'm leaving tomorrow with my 13-year-old son. One of my companies, Barbecue Nation, we sponsor a top fuel racer on the national circuit. Last year he was a Rookie of the Year. Justin Ashley is his name. Well, we're flying down to Vegas. Tomorrow night we're going to David Copperfield. And then Friday and Saturday we're going to the race, and we're going to see the top fuel and the funny cars and all the different things that are part of that event series, and going to hang out and get VIP treatment. Well, guess what? When my son is my age, he's going to remember this weekend. And to me, that's why I do what I do, is so that I can create these memories. He's 13, almost 14. I'm 59. I am an older dad, and I realize that, and it gives me some advantages on perspective. It gives me the perspective of, okay, I'm not going to be this workaholic dude. I'm not going to be that guy. I was that guy earlier in my life, in my 20s and early 30s. I'm not that guy now. And so that really makes me motivated to be uber efficient in my businesses, so that I don't have to always be working.
Really, really good interview. Thank you so much for joining us on our show. Mitche Graf, the website is powermarketing101.com. That's powermarketing101.com. Mitch, any final thoughts you want to share with our listeners, or anything else you want to promote?
Just thanks for having me on, guys. The one thing I do want to mention is the new book, 6-Star Service in a 1-Star World, Customer Service is Dead. You can go to Amazon. It's available on Kindle and paperback, or you can go to the number 6-star, STAR.org, so 6-star.org, and we're giving away a free paperback book. I just ask you to pay a little bit of shipping and handling, but it's free. You can just go there now. You can order it, and we'll ship it out to you the next day. And there's going to be a free little bonus in there. Speaking about that 6-star experience, we're actually giving people, without telling them, and I'm telling your audience now, we're giving you a second book for free. It'll just show up in your envelope when you get the Customer Services Dead book. But that site is there now, or you can go to Amazon and get your order shipped that way.
Mitche Graf, thank you so much for joining us on the Work From Home Show. To all our listeners, check us out at www.workfromhomeshow.com. That's workfromhomeshow.com. Get on our mailing list, leave us a review on any podcasting platform that you use. Reach out to us, hello@workfromhomeshow.com. That's hello@workfromhomeshow.com. And until next week, keep on working from home.